The takeover, Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham have officially taken over Las Vegas alongside Justine Passat. Hey, I'm just saying, Indiana Fever, y'all look real bad. We have to get into Caitlin Clark taking over Las Vegas. She got NBA players out there calling her the best player in the world. Sophie Cunningham, UFC, all types of stuff. We got the Indiana Fever versus the Las Vegas.
Some people bring popcorn to a WNBA game expecting a little basketball they definitely weren't expecting. Front office drama, a microphone hotter than a fourth-quarter shooting streak, and Sophie Cunningham deciding that diplomacy was officially on injured reserve. What exactly happened that has fans arguing, social media melting down, and everyone suddenly talking about the Indiana Fever instead of the scoreboard? Buckle up, because this story gets stranger, louder, and a whole lot more unbelievable the deeper you dig.
Well, guys, is it safe to say that outside of Caitlin Clark, the most popular WNBA player is her teammate, Sophie Cunningham? Now, Sophie Cunningham is not a superstar, okay? Caitlin Clark, face of the league, the money train for the players, but there's no doubt about it, guys. Sophie Cunningham is extremely easy on the eyes.
There is something almost ironic about the biggest conversation in the WNBA no longer revolving around a game-winning three-pointer, a dazzling crossover, or a championship race. Instead, one of the loudest debates in basketball exploded because a player decided she had seen enough.
See what I be saying? Right now, I feel like Stephanie White should be in jail right now. Like, straight up, enough is enough. Enough is enough. I've been saying this since last season she an Asian, bro. Something ain't right here with this woman. In case you guys didn't know, Caitlin Clark will be playing tomorrow versus the Aces. She will be on minute restrictions. She's saying 20 minutes around it. Why? Why is it 20 minutes? Why? Caitlin Clark said she was fine after last game. Said she wasn't even winning. The way you played her.
One moment of raw emotion suddenly became the center of a league-wide argument, and Sophie Cunningham found herself standing in the middle of it without ever looking as though she regretted a single second.
And a star is born. Sophie Cunningham, she's not an overnight sensation anymore. She's not just a meme. She's not just somebody who put J.C. Sheldon in a headlock. She's not just somebody who went 2v1 against the Connecticut Sun. She's not somebody who pointed at DeWanna Bonner. Sophie Cunningham has officially hit the mainstream. She has now placed herself as one of the 3 top stars of the WNBA.
Professional sports have always celebrated players who defend their teammates. Hockey has built an entire culture around it. Football praises teammates who stand up after late hits. Baseball benches empty almost on instinct whenever tensions boil over.
The Indiana Fever obviously set to take on the Las Vegas Aces today in a game that many people will hang over Caitlin Clark's head if they lose. The narratives that this team is better without her will continue to be pushed if they don't win this game, and if she does not play well. I feel like Stephanie White is going to try to sabotage her with a minutes restriction, but we'll get to that later. The takeover has been underway. Caitlin Clark took over NBA summer.
Basketball has traditionally occupied a strange space where physicality, emotion, and discipline constantly battle for control. That complicated balance is exactly why one sequence involving Cunningham resonated so strongly with so many fans. By the time that game reached its boiling point, plenty of viewers believed they had already watched Caitlin Clark absorb another afternoon filled with bumps, hard fouls, constant attention, and increasingly physical defense. Whether every hit deserved outrage depended on who was watching, but almost everyone agreed on one thing. The intensity surrounding Clark had become unlike anything the league had experienced in years. Every nationally televised game seemed to generate another debate. Social media clips circulated. Within minutes, television analysts argued over whether defenders were simply competing hard or deliberately testing the rookie-turned-superstar every chance they received. Fans dissected every replay as though they were studying evidence in a courtroom instead of watching a basketball game. That atmosphere created the perfect recipe for emotions to overflow. When Connecticut's physical approach once again became part of the story, Cunningham reached a point where she decided enough was enough. After a sequence involving JC, Sheldon, and Clark escalated the tension, Cunningham committed an intentional fall that immediately changed the mood inside the arena. It was not a basketball play designed to stop a fast break. It was a statement that said the Fever were no longer willing to let every confrontation pass without a response.
Sophie Cunningham, the blonde bomber, getting her revenge on the Phoenix for booing her all night, for putting DeWanna Bonner, the paperclip quitter, in check. Take that, Phoenix! Sophie, the black belt, the blonde bomber, Sophie Cunningham. Y'all remember Phoenix Mercury? Y'all tried to do that shit. Offensive foul on Kalia Copper, the oil spill, and then Sophie hits the free throws to sit.
Officials reacted immediately, issuing penalties that everyone expected after such an obvious display of frustration. Cunningham later joked publicly about receiving a relatively small fine, treating the punishment with the kind of shrug that only added to her growing reputation as someone who genuinely believed protecting teammates came before worrying about public perception. That response quickly became almost as memorable as the foul itself. Instead of sounding apologetic during interviews, Cunningham explained that she viewed the entire situation through the lens of accumulated frustration. From her perspective, the incident was not created by one possession. Her comments only intensified when the conversation shifted away from that particular game and toward Clark's place within the WNBA. During an appearance that quickly spread across every major social media platform, Cunningham dismissed the ongoing debate over whether Clark is the face of the league. She argued forcefully that anyone denying Clark's impact was ignoring obvious reality. The clip traveled across basketball circles almost instantly, generating millions of views, endless reaction videos, and thousands of comments from supporters and critics alike.
We've all seen it, and even if you're not a WNBA fan, and I'm not, we've all seen it now. Caitlin Clark getting her ass kicked every single night, and the refs doing very little about it, the league doing very little about it. I got with Riley Gaines, a female athlete in her own right, and I asked her what she thinks is going on. Her answer is one I hadn't heard before. When you see her getting her ass kicked every day by other women, for God's sakes, as a former, really top-level athlete, what do you make of that? What is their problem? Is this a racial thing? Is that what we're looking at, pure and simply? They don't like that she's not the right race and is doing well in the
The reason those remarks became so explosive had very little to do with profanity or emotion. Fans hear passionate athletes every week. What made Cunningham's words different was the timing. The WNBA is experiencing unprecedented growth. Television ratings have climbed dramatically. Arenas are fuller than they have been in years. Merchandise sales have reached remarkable levels. National media outlets devote significantly more attention to the league than they did only a short time ago. Clark is not responsible for every bit of that progress, but very few people seriously dispute that she has become one of the biggest engines driving basketball's current surge in popularity. That reality has also created uncomfortable conversations. Many longtime observers argue that today's success belongs to years of work by veteran stars who built the league long before Clark arrived. Almost overnight, she became something larger than a reserve guard for the Indiana Fever. Supporters began describing her as the teammate willing to say publicly what they believed others preferred discussing only behind closed doors. Memes appeared across every social media platform. Highlight packages paired dramatic music with clips of her defending Clark.
Now, UFC 329, folks, was yesterday. And there was a special guest appearance. When it comes to ring girls, guys, I don't think anyone can actually name a ring girl. Yeah, they look nice, but you don't know who they are. But last night at UFC 329, you knew who the ring girl was. And her name was Sophie Cunningham.
Basketball creators produced reaction videos that treated the moment like the beginning of an entirely New chapter in the Fever's season. Internet culture has a remarkable ability to transform a single sporting moment into something that feels almost cinematic, and this was no exception. One replay turned into 20. Every camera angle received its own analysis. Fans slowed the footage frame by frame, searching for context, assigning motives, and debating whether Cunningham had crossed a line or fulfilled an unwritten responsibility that athletes have shared for generations. Meanwhile, another conversation quietly continued, gaining momentum beneath the surface. Many basketball fans began questioning the officiating itself. Throughout Clark's first professional seasons, numerous games featured heated discussions about how referees handled physical defense against her. Cunningham made her own opinion unmistakably clear. She explained that referees had contributed to the situation by failing, in her view, to protect one of the league's premier attractions. She emphasized that she entered games focused on shooting, executing game plans, and helping Indiana win, but she also made it equally clear that protecting teammates remained part of her responsibility whenever circumstances demanded it. Whether people applauded that philosophy or criticized it, almost nobody ignored it.
So the Indiana Fever just took on the LA Sparks in a game where Caitlin Clark came back from injury. She only played 15 minutes. She was not able to get into a groove. The Fever lost by double digits because this LA Sparks team was cooking. The only bright spot on the Indiana Fever in this game was Kelsey Mitchell. She was absolutely dogging on this team, but for every three she was going to hit, they were going to do it on the other end if you're the LA Sparks. And people are obviously going to run with the same narratives that we've been running with for months now. The Indiana Fever sucks. Stephanie White is not a great coach. Whenever Caitlin Clark doesn't go out there and play like the greatest WNBA player to ever touch a basketball court.
The debate expanded far beyond one hard foul. Suddenly, television panels discussed player safety. Former athletes debated locker room loyalty. Journalists examined how leagues balance allowing physical competition without permitting games to spiral into retaliation. Fans from entirely different sports even joined the conversation, comparing Cunningham's actions to enforcers in hockey, protectors in football, and veterans who defend teammates. In baseball, Indiana's fan base embraced the moment with remarkable enthusiasm. Inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse, chants celebrating Cunningham echoed throughout the arena during subsequent appearances. Supporters rarely connect only with statistics anymore. They connect with personalities. They remember players who appear authentic. Even when authenticity generates controversy, Cunningham's reputation shifted almost overnight from energetic role player to fearless teammate, and that transformation resonated because fans could easily understand the emotion behind it. At the same time, criticism arrived just as quickly. Detractors argued that escalating physical confrontations risks making already tense games even more dangerous.
Get it. What do you think?
I don't think it helps that she's white. I don't think it helps that she's straight. But really what I think it is total jealousy. You've got this girl who became the queen of the WNBA before she ever even set foot on a WNBA court.
Right.
And she revolutionized the game, and I think people really hate her for it. And I think being white and straight, again, if this was a black lesbian woman who had revolutionized the game,
yeah,
I think we would be seeing a different response, but that's not.
Others insisted officials, not players, should manage discipline on the court. Several commentators warned that celebrating retaliation could encourage future incidents that cross the line between competitive basketball and unnecessary violence. Those objections ensured the story refused to disappear after a single news cycle. Instead, it evolved into something much larger than one technical foul or one interview. Every subsequent Fever game carried additional intrigue because viewers wondered whether officials would call games differently, whether opponents would alter their defensive approach, and whether Cunningham's outspoken defense of Clark had permanently changed the chemistry surrounding one of the league's most watched teams. For the WNBA, the situation represented both an opportunity and a challenge. Attention was pouring into the league at extraordinary levels. Success had brought a spotlight bright enough to illuminate every disagreement, and suddenly even routine basketball moments carried national significance. That growing spotlight also changed the way every public comment was interpreted. A sentence that might have disappeared into the background only a few seasons ago suddenly became headline material.
Cunningham.
All this because Sophie Cunningham called out DeWanna Bonner for being a quitter with no response to the team, and that's what she's mad at, and y'all want to turn on Sophie Phoenix? This is classic WNBA. When a player goes, stands up for Caitlin Clark and plays with her, they want to demonize them. And then they want to have the person that did the bullshit, DeWanna Bonner, be the victim, man. Sophie stunning on you punk ass hoe.